It's disturbing as a real Christian, right, to look at people that call themselves Christians and then their behavior says satanic. And then people use a shield.
Almost like a vest they can put on and take off whenever.
You can't criticize me, I'm a Christian.
Who's to say that we should all follow one rule, right? I'm not saying you're making the case for that.
Whoa, you think that throwing a gay guy off the roof is okay?
No, I'm not even referring to just that. The West wants the whole world to adopt the Western ideologies.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
You know what I think about hate? It's really propaganda. It's engineered, right?
Yep.
Through the media, and they have their own motives for why they want to propagate a certain race of people, right? Muslims, hey, they're the enemy. They're this. They're
It's
this.
like, not us, them. You know, do you consider Islam the religion of peace?
Yes, I do.
America is considered a Christian nation. You know, it seems like now it's like the only time that Christians go and fight Muslims is because someone else is telling us to. Now Christians are being weaponized to go do the work of others.
Yeah.
Christians were sent to Iraq. Christians were sent to Libya. Christians were sent to Afghanistan. Christians were sent to all these Middle Eastern countries with the purpose of what? Immigrants get a bad rap in this country. Hold on, before you jump out of your seat, okay, here's what I'm saying. When have you ever heard anyone in this country say, yeah, immigrants truly contribute to this country? I mean, I haven't, and I've been in this country for a couple decades. So here's what we're gonna do today. Today we're diving deep into the good, the bad, and the ugly stereotypes around immigration in America. Trust me. You're going to want to stick around because in the studio today, we have 4 immigrants having this conversation from lived experience. So with that being said, let me introduce the immigrants on the show. Starting with myself, I'm your host, Carlos Reyes, a Christian born in Mexico. Across from me is my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal Shakir, a Christian born in Iraq. And to his right, joining us all the way from D.C., we have our good friend Ace Karimi, a Muslim born in Afghanistan. And to his right, we also have Mr. AK, a Muslim born in Iraq. So buckle up, lock in, because this is going to be an explosive conversation. Anyway, gentlemen, welcome.
What's up, Carlos?
You like, by the way, that intro? Was,
I like
Sal
that intro.
Sal contributed to the explosive, right? It's funny because I've been joking about that kind of stuff with Sal, you know, because he's from the Middle East, right? And as you guys know, after 9/11, I mean, dude, the rhetoric, the flack, the backlash that immigrants, well, we already get that in this country. And I'm not sitting here victimizing myself because I don't believe in that, right? So let's just throw that out the window. But what I'm saying is immigrants have always, in my opinion, you know, for some reason, I don't know why, right? And I don't want to say racism, but again, you know, people kind of feel like immigrants are somewhat intrusive in some ways. Like, you know, think about what every politician has ever ran on, right? Immigration has been a big policy of what they're running on, right? Right? Remember, build a wall, right? But after 9/11, I feel like Middle Eastern people took a little bit of heat off us Mexicans. After 9/11, we were like, oh, that's terrible. And we were like, oh, man, people are focusing on the Middle Eastern guys now. We're like, okay, back to work.
They got the heat now.
Yeah, like, oh, back to work.
Was it the Mexicans or was it the blacks?
Well, I don't consider black people immigrants.
Oh,
I don't consider black people immigrants in this country. I consider them Americans. They have been in this country for so long, right? That what I would consider modern day immigrants are like the Mexicans, the Afghanis, the Iraqis, the Asians, right?
Indians.
The Somalis.
Oh, now the heat is
Whoa,
on the Somalis.
we'll get
now.
there. We'll get there. Right? The Somalis in Minnesota. The Somalis. Anyway, so with that being said, what do you guys think, right? And we'll go around the room here. What do you guys think of what I said when I said, it's like, dude, hey, I'll get you back to the show in just a second. I just wanted to come on here real quick and encourage you that if you are a business owner that's looking for top level coaching and a great community because you're experiencing challenges in your business, all you got to do is click the link right in the description and we'll reach out with more information. Now back to the show. People always focus on the negative side of immigration, right? Instead of, what about all the contribution that immigrants have made historically, right? Objectively, evidently in this country. I'll start with Asians. Didn't Asians help build a lot of the railroads in this country? It's also stated that because of the railroad system, right, the Civil War was won. The Civil War was won. Right?
Huge
Supplies, what do you call it?
Supply line?
Resources.
Not only resources, but more importantly, infantry. Infantry was commuted, right? Supplies were commuted. Infantry was commuted, right? Weapons were commuted. Ammunition, right? Like, I mean, you name it, right? The railroads made a big difference in some of these the civil battles that happened in this country, if you think about it. And by the way, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Why don't we talk about Mexicans in this country and how we have contributed in this country? I know that this is kind of this might be a little bit of an overstretch, right, or a stretch to say we built this country. Now, what do you mean by you built this country? I'm talking about structurally, right? Labor-wise, like. Go ahead and give me go look at a building and tell me that a Mexican was not involved in the construction of that building in this country, right? Or a Latin person, because if you're in the East Coast, right, then it could be Puerto Ricans, it could be Salvadorians, it could be Colombians, right? That are over there on the East Coast, because we Mexicans we're not really in the East Coast like that.
Yeah.
Right? We're definitely in the Southwest.
But Hispanics.
Exactly. Latinos.
Latinos,
right? But we're definitely in the Southwest. I mean, anytime that you roll up to a construction job site, what do you see?
Mexicans.
Yeah.
Legal and illegal. And the illegal people figured out a way to get a job. Can you imagine? Bro? Imagine this, right? Well, imagine this. When a Mexican immigrant breaks the law, right? When a Mexican immigrant breaks the law, right? In many cases, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad Mexicans out there. And we all have our proportion, kind of radicals or up to no good, right? In every ethnicity, we all have them, right? In my ethnicity, where some people will consider us drug dealers, right, or gangsters. Right? In your ethnicity, some people would consider you guys radicals and terrorists. Yeah. Yes?
Maybe.
But we all have them.
There's some drug dealer Arabs for sure.
But white people, white people, like the radicals on their side, they shoot up schools. You see what I'm saying? So we all have them.
Yeah.
We all have them, right? So with that being said, what I'm saying is this. All right? When a Mexican breaks the law, okay, often he or she does it to make money in a legal way. They illegally break the law, right, to get a job, to be able to work in this country, whether that looks like someone's getting a fake ID, or they're working with their ITIN, or they're getting a fake Social Security, or they're borrowing their cousin's Social Security number to get a job. And here's something else, by the way, that was just magnified recently, literally this week. Ready? So, especially this year, by the way, ready? And we're going to get into the Afghanis and to the Iraqis and all that, right? But this year, you saw ICE, right? The customs, or what was it? What does ICE stand for?
Immigration. It's something.
ICE. Yep. Yep, here it is, right? So you saw ICE, which stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, right? Anytime that they were going after Mexicans, where were they casting a net at? Where were they right? Where were they
The
grabbing
job
them at?
sites.
Where?
Job sites, or there's.
They were pouring concrete. They were building a building, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then recently, when they went after the Somalis, they rolled up to empty shell daycares that have funneled allegedly billions of dollars. And by the way, right, the trickle down effect started where? In Washington, in government. And they, that money, the $9 billion, for, to help America with, daycare and food programs and all, whatever you want to call it, it funneled its way down to the Somalis. And by the way, I'm not sitting here telling you that all Somalis are bad. Like I said, we all have bad actors in our ethnicities, right? But it funneled its way billions of dollars to these shell entities and these empty daycares, right?
That's called siphoning.
They definitely siphoned. So, but what I want you to look at here, right, is look at the difference. When ICE is rolling up to get their hands on some Somalis and deport them, they're rolling up to fraudulent or allegedly fraudulent empty daycares that are committing fraud. When ICE rolls up to deport Mexicans, they're rolling up to a construction site. The guy's pouring concrete and they're chasing them and grabbing them.
Yep.
Brother, that is a vast difference.
Yeah,
that's night and day.
One is producing and working, the other is not doing anything.
Well,
Stealing.
actually, the other one's not just doing anything. They're apparently taking advantage of government programs
and taxpayer
paid
dollars.
for, paid for and by the tax-paying American, who in America, most families right now cannot even save $1,000 as a family. You get what I'm saying? So again, this is why I'm like, dude, we got to talk about immigration, because like, when are we going to actually start talking about the good? The good. We always talk about the bad. We talk about the ugly, right? When are we going to talk about the good, the contribution that immigrants make in this country? When have you ever heard someone somewhere say, immigrants contribute to this country? We would not be able to build the infrastructure that we have here in America without the labor of immigrants.
Yeah. That doesn't follow the narrative for propaganda, though.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody cares.
Or it doesn't serve people, because sometimes to admit that means that they don't have anything else to talk about or to serve the other beliefs that they believe in. Because I understand why people, let's psychologically, you have to understand. You let's say you have a house, you own your own house, and some people decided to come to your house, and whether they were welcomed or not, you start to say, well, they're eating some of our resources in that house. So fundamentally, I think people think from that narrow, I guess, goggles.
Yeah.
To say, oh, well, yeah, people coming to our country and taking our resources. We're Americans and they're taking everything away. Rather than thinking that there's something, I think the one of the reasons that America is America, because something called H-1B1 visa. Because America is such a great opportunity that people they come from other countries here with their degrees, and they help build that infrastructure, whether it's whether it's through engineering or computing power and whatnot. This is why America is great, because we bring the best resources here and we utilize that. So to say that immigrants aren't contributing is just an ignorance, surface level observation by many people.
I agree.
Truly, I mean,
I agree.
in the same sense that you just mentioned that the Asians built the railroads to help the Civil War win, right? That's one of the contributors to the Civil War win.
Yeah, I'd also add that you need an enemy, right? Like, and sometimes you have to make it seem like the enemy is from outside, and there's actually deeper layers to that, by the way, because you could just be masking the true cause of all these problems. So you need a mask and enemy on the outside.
You need a villain.
You need a villain. You're like, hey, it's the people outside the country that are the problem.
Of course.
But in reality, is that the full story? Everybody knows
There
it's
has
not.
to be a finger pointed somewhere, right?
Exactly. And the funny-
Even though, and by the way, I'm not villainizing white people. I love all people, right? But white people are 65% of this country's population. You get what I'm saying? And all the rest of us are like, scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? A lot of the people that are actually, like pushing this propaganda are immigrants. They're trying to get the appeal of the whites and the blacks because those are the majority. Like the Colombian congresswoman, the one that you mentioned, you showed me the video.
Valentina Gomez,
Valentina
she
Gomez.
is a
Yeah.
little repulsive, man. She's a little repulsive.
Little?
She's hard. She's hard on the stomach.
But I agree that she's hard on the stomach, but I think her
It's a
team
PR
did.
stunt, I would
I
say.
think her team did the
Definitely.
research and realized, we need to capture the attention of these folks. That's how we'll win this race.
By attacking the Muslims?
If that's probably part of their research.
She's not attacking the Mexicans, by the way. And it would kind of look it would look a little hypocritical
To
if she was
people who
attacking
don't know what we're
Latinos.
talking about, I think a clip should have, like, there has to be a clip. The editing team
I
should put a
put
clip up there.
If you go to my Instagram, I put a clip of me actually giving feedback. If you go look up Congresswoman. Well, she's not even a congresswoman. She's running for Congress, I believe, in Texas. Right? Her name is Valentina Gomez, and she's running on hate and she's running on division. And of course, you can say the same thing when Trump ran in 2016, right? You can say the same thing, but I don't think it was this bad. I mean, this lady is like, she has one of those guns. What are those guns called? A flamethrower?
Was it a flamethrower?
She has a flamethrower, and she's burning the crowd.
Oh wow, I did not.
We
know
got
that.
to
I did
kick
not
out
know
every.
that, yeah.
She's like, we got to kick out every dirty Muslim out of this country, or else your daughters are gonna get raped by Muhammad.
Yeah, very disrespectful.
Wow.
It's like, and then she's like, Christ is King, vote for me. What? What?
Well, in a way, too, you know what the problem
Christ
with
is
that
King.
Yeah.
Christ would come down on you and say, yo, love thy neighbor? What are we doing here, Valentina? Disgustingly disrespecting and degrading Muslims, right? And then people will be, oh, you're a Muslim empathizer or sympathizer, right?
Well, I would argue that she's not a true believer of the Christian faith.
Of
Absolutely
course
not.
not.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely
hypocritical. Yeah.
Absolutely. By the way, and I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that, right? Because there's over 2.4, 2.5 billion Christians in the world. I haven't looked at the stats. I will right now about how many people proclaim to follow the Christian faith in America. Oh, we're a Christian nation. Act like it. Act like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what? Act like it. You know, it's like it's disturbing, dude. Like, it's disturbing as a real Christian, right, to look at people that call themselves Christians and then their behavior says satanic. It's complete opposite. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then people use a shield. They use this Christian shield.
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking about this, right? And it's like,
Almost like a vest they can put
yeah,
on and take
I'm
off
a
whenever.
Christian.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
can
a
you
Christian. You can't
elaborate?
criticize me. I'm a Christian. And it's like, yeah, publicly you portray to be this Christian, but your life, your behavior, completely. I mean, you don't fall into any of the Christian categories. You're disgusting. And I'm starting to get sick of it, dude, because I believe that real Christians that do the hard work and walk the hard path should begin to call out these fake Christians that are self-serving and advancing their own agendas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's disgusting, dude. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'll say that too, even from my perspective, growing up here in this country, and like I've had a lot of Christian friends, right? Like real Christian friends, and just people who claim to be Christians, right? And other religions do it too. It's not just Christians, but like when you actually see somebody stand on their beliefs, right, and they stand for what they believe in, and they don't transgress those lines, that's when you know somebody stands for something.
It's unequivocal,
Yeah.
right? You see someone stand on their belief system and their faith, right? And the way that, like, okay, what does it mean to be a Christian? That's why Sal's like, hey, bro, I'm a Christian from Iraq, right? Very simple. A Christian is someone who follows the life, the teachings, and the example of Christ, period. Y'all can take all this other Protestant, Baptist, or you can take all that. Go ahead, take it, run with it. Run with it. That's not me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I just want to follow. I want to live I want to live like Christ. I want to do my best to live like Christ. Now, have I got there? No, I haven't. Will I get there? Probably not. But I'm gonna do my. I'm gonna walk that hard, narrow path every day, right? Not because I want validation or acceptance from others. No, it's because that's who we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
I believe that's the way to like a better world is to live like that because it has only positive attributes. So there isn't a negative attribute. Jesus talks about if somebody hits you, turn the other cheek, right? Because he doesn't incite violence. So like the formula itself, it may suck for a bit, but in the long run, it doesn't implode, right? Because now it's all love and peace. Like But what the other lady was, Valentina, whatever her name is, she's doing hate. What do you think that's gonna? She's inciting hate. What do you think that's gonna lead to?
more
Right?
hate.
Maybe it's gonna
She's gotten
help
death
her
threats.
march forward.
She doesn't know why she's gotten death threats. I'm like, you don't know why you gotten death threats? What are you, a moron?
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly, bro. So it's like the unfolding of that eventually, and that's why I think what Carlos is trying to break down is to live like Christ, or to be Christ-like is a way for us to know that we will be better in the long run, and that is the way to march forward. That is the way for humanity or for society to flourish. And I truly believe in that. I think that's if we follow these steps, and some people have it in their other religion. I study Islam as well, and it has a lot of good attributes. Just like every religion has some gray areas that men translated, and in every religion, I think humans translate certain things and they bend it to their own will, and that's what others judge. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Ready? Watch this. I wanted to pull up a couple of teachings that we follow, right? As Christians, as real Christians. Ready? So this was from Christ when he gave the Sermon on the Mount. Ready? You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Right? Here's what Christ said. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Watch this. Excuse me. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. I mean, think about, and by the way, he didn't just say it. He did it. He did it. Everybody says things. Everybody's right. Everyone says things. Did you do it? According to testimonies, right? Because we weren't there, right? Scripture, testimonies. This is the way that he lived his life, right? So again, what we have in this country, this is a Christian country. No, are we doing those things?
No, we're far from it.
Right? But again, let's talk about you guys. Okay, so Sal, you're a Christian from Iraq, right? Ace is a Muslim from Afghanistan, and my man AK is a Muslim from Iraq. Okay? Again, I've never been a Muslim from the Middle East, right? I mean, I can only talk about my experiences as a Mexican immigrant, right? With a different, thank God, I think what religiously, I do align with this country and this country aligns with me. So what I'm saying is, I can only imagine to be an immigrant in this country, right? And then to have a different set of beliefs in this country. You get what I'm saying? So what is that like? Because again, you're an immigrant and you're from the Middle East, but your belief system is of this, it's just like this country.
Yeah.
Right? You guys, what is that? First of all, let me ask you this. Did you come here illegally or legally?
Legally.
He's like,
My parents
he's like,
did.
oh, you dry snitching? No. Did you come here legally or legally?
We were actually refugees from war. So.
Okay, well, aren't you guys lucky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to sneak in,
Yeah.
risk my life. My mom risking her life. My brother risking his life.
Build some character.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I had to come here and risk my life. That's the way that I was able to get into this country, right? So first of all, that's a blessing. All right. Now, what is that like? What has it been like growing up Muslim and Middle Eastern in this country?
Oh, it's been a journey. Let's just say that
It's been a journey.
It's been a
he
journey.
says.
But funny enough, I actually haven't experienced a lot of racism in this country. And I mean, you could take a look at me. I'm like a darker skinned,
You're pretty
Middle
brown.
Eastern looking dude, right?
Yeah.
I've had very few instances And I went to an all-white school, all-white college for the most part, like 90% white, like didn't have any sort of bad hate or any sort of, harshness. People were nice. Like I do think that real Americans are good people, right? They're very fair, and they also understand that we're all coming from different backgrounds. So in that regard, I wouldn't say that I've experienced some sort of like racism and like hate or prejudice in any way.
What about after 9/11?
After well, here's where it gets interesting, right? So I remember.
I just wanted to blow up your narrative. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I'll say this. I mean, I've seen the headlines. And
Sal
whatnot.
loves the explosive jokes.
I've heard that joke my whole life, bro.
Yeah.
Since I came here in the United States.
Remember the
until
airplane,
now.
Sal?
Yeah.
The movie Harold and
I get
Kumar.
it. Yeah, so with the 9/11 thing, bro, I actually had to look into it. I was in middle school researching 9/11 and the truth behind it, because I'm like, I something didn't make sense to me logically, that I'm like, how could planes hit the top part of two buildings and the whole buildings collapse? So I'm like, something doesn't make sense there.
Yeah.
You feel me? So then I actually researched it, and then I came across these actual conspiracies, which now everybody's like going deep into. And I remember as a kid learning it, and then I see all these headlines in the Middle East, and I'm like seeing all the rhetoric, and then I'm talking to my father, and I'm seeing because they know real history, right? They know the real war. My dad was a sergeant for Afghanistan at the time. Yeah, he spent 10 years in war, and the funny thing is, he was telling me straight up, he's like, all the fighting and the war out the Middle East is purely for resources, purely for oil, purely for gain of control over.
And I feel like it's orchestrated.
Yeah, yep.
And we're not that stupid anymore.
By the way, it's orchestrated, but there has to be a fact to be added to that.
Sure.
I am from the Middle East.
Yeah, how are the weapons of mass destruction
But
going
see, that's
over in
narratives
Iraq?
to get in and
Yeah.
get the resources.
get it.
However, there is an excuse. And see, we have to focus on the excuse that they use to get in there.
Well, the Israelis, hold on though. The Israelis told us that the Middle Eastern people took down the towers. So you know what we did? Actually, the Israelis told us that Afghanistan's took down the tower, yes?
I think so.
But then we went into Iraq.
That was the point I was making.
Exactly.
That was the point. It's like, those damn Afghanis, the Israelis, they're like, they whisper into the American ear, as they always do. And again, guys, it's not about Israel as an entire, or Jewish people. I'm talking about our government ally is who I'm specifically talking about, right? The intelligence from the government, from our ally in that region, right? So they're like, it's like, the Afghanis took down the tower. Did you see that passport that didn't burn? Right? The passport that didn't burn, right? And then remember they found the passport, like nothing happened. It was crisp.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, yeah, the Afghanis took down the towers. It's like, go invade Iraq, right? Wait, what? Iraq had nothing to do with
It's
it.
definitely oil resources. So Iraq has the second largest world, oil
Bro,
reserve.
everybody said. Colombia says that. Iran says that. The
Yeah.
Saudis say that. Everybody
Iraq
says.
actually has it.
Yeah.
Everybody says
Okay,
that. bro.
I mean, there's a proof.
tired
There's a
of
war
it.
that happened. But anyway,
tired of
the
it.
fake war that happened, whatever you want to call it. And bro,
Well, it wasn't
I'm
fake
sitting
because- it
here.
wasn't fake because
I'm
over a
only in
million people lost
America
their
because
lives.
of that war that happened recently. That most recent war.
And we're
I'm
partnering because
a
of that war.
refugee myself. And we seek asylum here. And my point is that I'm gonna explain a scenario with how Israel and Palestine right now, just to paint a picture that we Arabs have a hand in this too, and I'm gonna explain why. So
Wait, the Arabs or the Iraqis?
the Arabs themselves, the Arabic nation, the Arab nations.
That's
together.
like 50-something countries, right?
a lot of countries.
Is
yeah.
it-
A
let
lot
me
of
explain-
countries.
let me-
Libya.
Well, let's see what
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, I'll explain
apologize.
exactly what I mean there.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing some videos on Facebook which explain what I'm about to say to the T. I've seen like Israeli social media where they show like videos of Palestinians. They're in the middle of the rain. They're in a tent. It's flooding, and the dad is like, "Oh my God, like, this is not way to live." And he grabs his son like, "This is the way we live." And the son is like, "Yeah." And then, or the son, or you would see another video of a kid that's like 8 years old or so. He's like, "This is the way we live." And like the kid is angry, like the anger on his face, and like they're hopeless and they're angry and they're frustrated.
The
And
Palestinian kid?
The Palestinians.
Got it.
And you'll read the comments, and I'll have to click translate so I can read the comments. And the comments is like, oh, look at these animals, like the way they live, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and like there's zero remorse.
Yeah.
And people start to they fail to look at why are they behaving the way they're behaving. What could that be a catalyst of like they're behaving like, if you want to call them animals or what do you want to call it, like the way they're behaving, or like barbaric or
Like sworn enemies.
or whatever. Yeah, you're looking at them in a negative way. Well, could that be because of the oppression and the wars and this and that? And like the dad is only holding his son and screaming and screaming at the camera saying, this is the way we live. Like, where is mercy? Where is the world? Is because of that. But Arabs brought it to themselves. Arab
Whoa.
nations, yes.
Whoa.
That's why. That's a caveat.
Whoa.
Arab nations has reinforced olden traditions that makes them look barbaric as well.
Like Sharia law?
So they do not progress like the rest of the world would progress. Therefore, it makes other countries, the Western world, to come in and with clean shoes and clean, like, oh, look at these barbarians. So there is a hand in that too. And I believe that they use that as an excuse, and that is the excuse that they use for Palestine. That's the excuse they use for Libya, for Iraq, for many countries, because they say we're a modern country. These countries aren't modern. Iran, oh, they oppress women, blah blah blah. So it's an easy excuse to say they're a danger to the world
gonna bring
because
democracy
they
to
are,
them.
because they are ignorant to our values and beliefs, and the Arab nations do make it look like that they have a point, because there is those videos circulating, there is these beheadings and whatnot and stoning or whatever you want to call it. So you have to look at it from both sides to understand the game that is being played at a global level, and this is it.
Yeah, so I think the narrative that's often rolled out here in the country, specifically regarding Arabics, right? Arabic people, is that you guys lack civility. Okay, that you guys lack civility, which is, if anybody wants to look up, that the word civility, it's just being civil, being a civil
Yeah,
human
but I
being.
find that odd. You know what's funny? I would have to push back on that because
I'm telling the narrative
No,
that
no,
is
no,
pushed
for sure,
often.
for sure.
First civilization was in Babylon, Iraq.
Yeah,
The first
exactly.
Yeah,
civilization.
but now we're considered Western civilization,
Yes, exactly.
because the narrative is that you guys did not evolve.
Agreed.
That
Of course, we did not,
civilization-
and that is, I
Yeah,
agree
but
with
evolve
you.
civilization did not evolve.
Evolve in what way?
Well, brother, if you're homosexual, apparently in the Middle East somewhere, they can just throw you off the top of a roof somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
That wouldn't. That's
I mean,
not too
they're hard.
No, I'm saying that's
yeah,
the narrative.
No, for
I've
sure.
never seen it done.
We're having a conversation.
I've seen it done like through videos, but yeah, in Iraq
Yeah.
actually.
Well, see, you
specifically,
can't do
exactly.
that in Western civilization. Oh, you're gay, right? You're gay. You like men? Follow me to the 20th floor real quick.
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not the way Western civilization has rules, regulations, code.
Well, that's
right?
also modern.
You don't get
That's
stoned.
also modern Western civilization. But you're right. Yeah, they don't stand for that.
Okay, let me ask you guys this.
And
in the Middle East,
And who's to say that we should all follow one rule, right? I'm not saying you're making the case for that.
whoa. You think that throwing a gay guy off the roof is okay?
No, I'm not even referring to
Okay.
just
I know,
that.
I'm just joking.
The way that countries, societies, governments decide to rule their countries,
Yeah.
right? The West wants the whole world to adopt the Western ideologies.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I would say
I
the
don't know.
peaceful ideology
Yeah.
is the way we should, and for whether it's Western, Eastern, whether it's religion or not. As a human being, I'm going to just talk as a human
That's
being.
it.
Forget,
Yeah.
don't attach me to religion, society, or any of that, or nationality.
Or country.
As a human being, I believe that the only way to survive and thrive as a race or as
a species.
or to this, and that's not even talking spiritually, because I'm very spiritual, and I think at a spiritual level, for us to love each other, to nurture each other, to help each other, and if there's anything negative added to that formula, then evidently there would be separation, there would be wars, there would be killing, there would be that behavior. So anything that has to do with that, with the opposition of survival or like of love, I would say, then it's taking away from that. So who is it to take away? It's a hard dilemma. I think it's almost like an impasse where you cannot overlook, but you have to kind of make amends with it. Does that mean when somebody steals, I don't throw them in jail? Then there has to be some kind of punishment. But what is too much of a punishment? And that's where lines get blurred.
Well, I think in this country, okay, forgive me, they say that the what is it, the punishment fits the crime, right? The punishment fits the crime. Again, they don't always get it right. No, I don't know of any country or any law, right? Any government that always gets it right. Absolutely not, right? No disrespect to my black brothers and sisters, but there's a strong possibility that O.J. Simpson really did take out that lady, Nicole, what was her name? Nicole Simpson, right? I don't know if were you here in the 90s?
No.
Okay, so
I was alive.
There was a famous black football player, mega star,
Okay.
that allegedly stabbed his wife to death because he was what's the word?
The O.J. Simpson. You talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've
He
heard
was
of it. but I
jealous.
wasn't here.
He was jealous and he erupted and he made some bad choices.
They got him for another
allegedly,
case.
allegedly, but he walked. See what I'm saying? So they don't always get it right. And I'm not saying that he did, but I'm not saying that he didn't. You see what I'm saying? Right? But so he walked, right? What I'm saying is, in Western civilization, if someone steals, depending on what they stole, right? Usually the punishment fits the crime, right? If you killed someone, automatically, 30 plus years or life in jail. See,
But that's not Jesus. Like Jesus said, turn the other cheek. That means if somebody raped and killed or whatever, turn the other cheek and forgive them.
From a spiritual perspective, yes.
Unfortunately, so we have to play within these confines that there is some bad things has to happen in order for good to stay.
Yeah.
But then we want to believe that turn the other cheek and only good. So this is to its core.
Yeah.
It's conflicting with both beliefs. So we have to always dance around this line.
Well, not entirely.
Of what is good and what is bad based on our human analogy or like what fits the crime. And who says that it fits it or not?
I get it. So here's what I'll tell you, right? I think that the intention of Christ was that we all as human beings operated in that spirit. So therefore, people wouldn't steal. People wouldn't kill. You see what I'm saying, right?
If we achieve it 100%, then that wouldn't happen.
That level of consciousness, right? Unfortunately, that was Christ's mission, right? But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I mean, you saw the guy's like, I'm not going to say the guy, right? Christ came to earth and he was preaching a gospel of what, right? Love and peace and prosperity and love thy neighbor, right? And what did they do to him? They're like, nah, we're good. Take him to the cross. You see what I'm saying, right? Because guess what? Human beings, unfortunately, right? Like this domain and this playing field is owned, orchestrated, and ran by the enemy, evil, right? So therefore, this man comes to do good. What do they do to him? They did bad to him. You see what I'm saying? So again, unfortunately, like we'll never achieve what Christ wanted us to achieve. Therefore, right? Therefore, we have to put all these, these
because we're born to sin. That's
exactly
my point was just to explain, because some people go about it looking at it from down to up, but they never try to see it from up. I like to explain it from up so you understand the game you're playing as well.
Yeah. So, by the way, we rudely interrupted you growing up as a Muslim Afghanistan person.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just went on so many.
Apologies, bro.
No, there's so
No,
many.
we both get. We're just very
Yeah.
excited about the subject.
I enjoy this conversation.
We're very
actually.
excited about the subject.
I mean, even though what I think about hate and all this it's really propaganda. It's engineered, right?
Yeah.
Through the media, and there is a particular group of people who do control the media, right?
Yep.
And they have their own motives for why they want to propagate a certain race of people, right? Muslims, hey, they're the enemy. They're this. They're
It's
this
like
and that.
not
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
them.
Yep, exactly. And it's like you got to look at motives and you got to look at who's behind the camera, right? And a lot of people don't talk about this. But I'll tell you this: as Muslims growing up, and I have a lot of Muslim friends too that are in D.C., right? A lot of Muslims out there, and dude, we just ignore it. Like when we follow the Quran, right? In the Quran, it says, "Those who patiently endure will earn their reward," right? So it's a lot about, and it said also when the ignorant try to like heat you up, you just say peace. You just ignore it. Like that's kind of just our way of going, because we even get reward for dealing with stuff like that, right? Because we do believe in like a reward system, in that God gives you a reward for dealing with harsh people in a good way. And so, yeah, our book of code, most people, it's funny, most people talk about these things in the Quran as hateful, and no one's really read it.
Well,
You know?
guess what?
Yeah.
A lot of people that regurgitated that,
Yeah.
some imams are like, they spread hate because they take the book's translation and they bend it to their own.
What do you mean by that?
They have their own interpretation.
Their own interpretation.
Yeah.
I remember there was these TV shows that back home, and as a kid, and there was only 3 channels on TV, and you would hear some people talk, and like there would be this guy that the phone rings and like, hey, so my husband drinks and this, and oh, so this happens, and the guy would give him advice on certain things, and they start to publicize that kind of information that is mainly bent to based on their own limited beliefs, that they would take a page from the book, from a few pages from the book, from the Quran, and they would translate in their own way to interpret an advice to that lady or to that man that's calling.
I'm actually really glad you said that. You know what I would actually truly challenge anybody, by the way, not even just Muslim, Christian, anybody. Most people never read the book themselves. They listen to their pastor, they listen to their imam, they listen to like an interpretation of how they're like explaining it. But like we all have access to the book.
Yeah.
Like,
So they go second hand, third hand.
Exactly. And it's like, why don't you read it and see how you make sense of that? You feel me?
But my point is, by the way, yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you have some bad actors that they add their human ingredients to the advice, and then people judge that because they sound like a bunch of rhetoric. Like I still have Facebook, and like I'm on Facebook, and I see some, like my brother just sent me a video a couple of days ago, and this guy is like, yeah, Trump is afraid. Like this guy is a religious figure.
Yeah.
And he's saying that Trump is afraid of coming to the United States, to Iraq, because he's afraid of our militias or blah, blah, blah. Like, like these, and he's like, I guarantee you because of this and this, and like, and it's complete rhetoric.
Come on, like, Trump's not afraid of.
Of course,
like,
of course.
No, I'm whatever, whoever that guy is.
You know what I would actually say even further, if we really want to take this conversation deeper, dude, a lot of these heads of government, the politicians, all these heads, they say they're religious or they're Christian or even Jewish, right? They're none of it.
Self-interest. Yeah, they're all.
They're secular.
Yeah.
A lot of
That's
them
what I
are
was going to
secular.
tell you, right? So I looked up some. I looked up, they say that Muslim or Islam. They say that Islam is the religion of peace.
That's the purpose. Yeah.
All right. So here are some things from the Quran, right? Okay, here we go. Believers are urged to enter peace entirely. So that is submission to peace, right? How about justice and reconciliation? Peace involves upholding justice and making peace among people. What about this? Response to your enemies, right? If an enemy inclines towards peace, Muslims must also incline towards it. You see what I'm saying? Right? Look at this. Killing one person is like killing all humanity, and breaking treaties is a grave sin. Here, from reading these scriptures in the Quran, right? I'm thinking, man, every Muslim that has ever lied, cheated, or stole from me is definitely not a Muslim, so I don't want to call him a Muslim. Just like people portray to be Christians and they lie and they cheat and they steal, they're not Christians. Because if they were Christians or if they were Muslims, they would fully submit right to their faith and the walks of their faith.
Humans be human. That's the
Human
problem.
are going to human.
Yeah, human are going to
Human
human.
are going to human, right? So with the here's another question that I have for you, right? So now that I've read those verses from the
Some
Quran.
passages. Yeah. Some surahs.
Yep. Now that I've read those verses from the Quran, let me ask you this. Actually, I'm going to ask AK this. AK?
What did you read from the Quran? Did I miss anything?
Oh, just about peace.
Okay.
Right?
He took a bathroom break. Just
Yeah, you're
for the
good.
record.
Yeah. I'm not going to reread them, but
Which was very peaceful, by the way.
no, good. I asked, do you consider Islam the religion of peace?
Yes, I do. But I also think that the religions that preceded it were also religions of peace.
Go ahead and break that down a little bit for me.
Yeah, for sure. So I do think that Islam is a religion of peace. And one of the reasons for it is during the time there was a lot of factions that were being created that were gaining power, that were spreading false messages, but also they were doing things that God would not approve of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing it to the benefit. One of the things that's been happening since the beginning of time is these teachings would be brought down to the world, the physical world, and what would happen? They would manipulate the words of the scriptures to their own interpretation, and in some cases they would actually rewrite the scriptures, right, so that it would benefit them, their families, their communities.
Humans are gonna human, right?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're flawed, and so when you ask that question, I do think so, but they can be interpreted. I've heard a lot of interpretations from many people where they're interpreted in a way where it doesn't seem like it's a religion of peace, but it's like, but if you actually look at the meaning and you bring it back to the time that it was brought down from the Lord, you would notice it's like, okay, you can't look at it so. I wouldn't look at these scriptures as so like, oh, it has to be this way. It's like, you do have interpretation, but if you look at it across the board, if you find the good in the scriptures, I genuinely believe all the scriptures that were passed down, the original ones, all come from a place of peace to bring people together.
Got it.
So with Islam specifically, I also think it's the religion of unity.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to bring the people together.
Let me ask you this. Actually, either one of you, because this is good. You're not Muslim, so I got.
Oh no, bro, this is great.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick their brain, right? Either one of you, actually, you can both take, I would say at least, 1 to 2 minutes to answer this question, each one of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is a narrative out there that Christians and Muslims don't see eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to the Middle East. I don't know what that looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a lot of Muslim friends, but I have a few. Okay, so either one of you can answer this.
Yeah, I actually,
Do Christians and Muslims
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
are Christians and Muslims more aligned than people may think?
I would say they're the most aligned.
Ooh.
Okay. So, Ace made a point earlier that one, I think a lot of Muslims haven't read the Bible, and two, a lot of Christians haven't read the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
But when you ask that question, there's a reason I brought that up. But when you ask that question and I answered they're the most aligned, is because, we have one major difference in our belief system, which is you guys believe that Christ was crucified, right? All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We believe that he was brought up into the
ascended.
heavens, correct, and that he's going to be brought back to slay the Antichrist.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Well, we both believe that.
And if you take all the propaganda out and how we've been brainwashed about both religions, right, going against each other, you would know that you would know that we are going toward the same cause. We all believe in one God, right, which is the Lord.
Allah.
We don't.
Allah.
Right. For us,
Allah.
we say Allah.
Allah.
And for
We say
It's the same
We
God,
say
by
I
the way.
am. We say Jehovah. We say
Correct.
Yeah.
What else? What other names do we have for God?
Yahweh?
Creator, Yahweh.
Elo.
We have
You say
plenty.
Elo too?
Adonai, right?
Adonai,
So,
And what
oh, by the way, I believe the Jewish
They believe the same God.
they
yes.
believe in the same God.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
but they don't believe in Christ.
Yes.
I believe the Christians that are educated understand this. The ones who are misinformed or don't understand, haven't gone deep enough, haven't realized this. But Muslims actually love Jesus. We call him Isa,
Isa.
Jesus. We believe he's one of the previous prophets, and that he came down to spread the message at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One of my favorite messages, which is unrelated to what you're talking about, from Jesus, that I learned actually from a book that it wasn't in the Bible, but from another book. I forget the author, but I'll tell you what he was getting at. He was explaining how Jesus, when he was going to give the message, one of the messages that he shared was his idea of individuality, which is like you yourself internally are very unique. Do not conform to the masses. This is where huge problems arise, is when people conform, because they stop thinking for themselves. They stop being authentic and genuine to themselves. So they just start to become
It's an emergence.
correct.
Emergence of the collective.
So, I asked you a question about Muslims and Christians, getting along and being more aligned than people may portray or think, right? So let me ask you this.
Wait, Carlos. I actually have something I want to share.
Oh, please.
Yeah, just
And
to
then
give
we'll
my
get to the next
response, because
question.
I actually had this phrase that came up in the Quran, by the way, to answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is in the fifth surah of the Quran. It says, "You will surely find the most intense of the people in hostility toward the believers to be the Jews and those who associate others with God, and you will surely find the nearest of them in affection to the believers, those who say we are Christians. That is because among them are priests and monks, and because they are not arrogant. And when they hear what has been revealed to the messenger, you see their eyes overflowing with tears because of what they recognize of the truth. They say, 'Our Lord, we believe, so record us among the witnesses.'" So that's straight from the book, and it's funny. People can even say like the Quran's anti-Semitic, right? But it just calls it for what it is.
So I was going to ask you. So okay, if we see eye to eye, right? We see if we have more in common than most people think. Why are Christians being persecuted in Nigeria by Muslims? Is it because those Muslims are radical and inhumane?
I honestly couldn't answer that. I don't know
Because here's that's part of the problem, right? When Muslims, radical Muslims, not Muslims, radical Muslims, when they
weaponize the religion. That's why.
I was going to tell you,
radicalization is a weaponizing of the religion in the Muslim form that you see in the news.
and every religion has their radicals, right?
Absolutely,
like I mean,
yeah.
Christians had the KKK at one
Yeah.
point. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? Did you know that?
I mean, go of course, and go back to the further, like back in the day when they were marching and slaying and like converting.
well,
you know,
back
that's-
then, remember, and I know this is it's not, you know, it's not a real story, but if you ever see Kingdom of Heaven, remember with
I've seen that movie.
great movie, by the way, with what's his name, the guy from Lord of the Rings. I mean, he became very famous, and he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyway, never mind. I'll look him up. Kingdom of Heaven, right? Remember, the Muslims are kind of fighting for Jerusalem with the Christians, and that's been happening for thousands of years. But you know, it seems like now it's like the only time that Christians go and fight Muslims is because someone else is telling us to. A non-Christian religion is telling us to go and kill Muslims. Does that make sense? Right? It's like now Christians are being weaponized to go do the work of others.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's from what I've seen these past 2 decades, right? I mean, think about it, right? Christians, because again, America is considered a Christian nation. For how much longer? I don't know, right? When Christians were sent, Christians were sent to Iraq, Christians were sent to Libya, Christians were sent to Afghanistan, right? Christians were sent to all these Middle Eastern countries with the purpose of what? To take over, to get rid of whoever was in power at that time, right? So again, and I know it's too religious now. We're talking about immigration, but
Yeah.
I feel like one of the biggest backlashes that immigrants receive specifically, right, is, and it comes specifically when it comes to Muslims or Middle Eastern immigrants, is Islam. Oh, we don't want Sharia law in this country. Go back to the Middle East. How many times have you heard that? Right, and then I will say though, right, sometimes the few ruin it for many, right? I mean, so I don't know if you guys saw in New York and Minnesota where there's a lot of Muslims, right? They are getting out there and they're doing the call. What is that called? The call you guys do?
The call to prayer.
The call to prayer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Muslims. So I don't know where that fine line is, right? Where you publicly just go and display your religion. I don't know if there's a right or wrong for that. I don't know what the laws are in this country, right? I thought in this country it is freedom of religion, but as far as display of your religion, right, in public places, I don't know what the limitations are regarding that. Does that
We're
make
all
sense?
trying to do our best. This is a crazy part.
It's true.
What?
Isn't this also where freedom of speech comes in?
Of course.
Yeah, bro. But again, Americans are going to feel threatened if there's 1,000 Muslims doing the call to prayer at Times Square. They're going to be like, oh man, what's going on?
Well,
We're getting overtaken.
Well, personally, I don't know if Times Square is exactly a good place to be.
Well, that just happened, by the way.
To be
I
doing
don't know if
that.
you saw that.
Yeah, like prayer. I mean, you can pray anywhere technically, but I would pray at a mosque.
You
or
should.
somewhere that's not so public. Times Square is one of the most public places in the world, and it's not because I don't want to watch people praying for me, but it's like collectively speaking, you're gonna interfere something by
It's
bringing
unsafe.
1,000. Yeah, it is unsafe.
It's unsafe.
I didn't know that happened, by the way.
Yeah. So recently, right, Muslims they gather in New York's Times Square, especially during Ramadan, right? So that's something that just actually happened. And again, I don't like the news because the news is the news is propaganda. The mainstream media right now is losing like they've never lost before, bro. Like they are the credibility of the mainstream media. I think it's down to like in the low 20s now. Like nobody cares.
It's all-time low.
Nobody cares about Fox. Nobody cares about CNN. Do you watch CNN or Fox? I don't.
Watch
I
a
used
new
to.
emergence of a new news like that is
Independent
gonna
media.
be weaponized again. Like I'm just saying, like we may feel like we're winning and like they're
know.
losing, and eventually they'll find a way to weaponize that new thing.
That's already
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
It's called Project Esther, by the way, where independent media personalities and influencers
Are getting paid?
are getting paid.
Yeah. Like
Allegedly.
Ben Shapiro.
Allegedly. Oh God, bro.
Did I just
that little
drop his name? Yeah. Weasel.
I'm not a big fan of
the exact
Shapiro,
word.
bro.
I don't
No,
like
it has
calling
nothing to do
people
'cause he's
names,
Jewish.
but that's the exact word.
Yeah. You know
He's a
why
little
I
weasel.
call him that? Because like
Yeah. He's
a little
you tell him
weasel.
something and he has that conviction and tells it back to you, even though he believes the opposite, but he'll say it and I read it, I see it. It's like that split second, that microsecond that you see it and you're like, oh, but he still stands. Yeah.
There's a lot of personalities out there, brother, that I can't stand in the geopolitical space, right?
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
He's a little weasel.
I respect him though, bro. Much
He's
respect
lying?
because his acumen is deep, and he's the
smart.
only thing I don't
He's
like
smart.
is that he's willing to betray his own belief, betray the truth and the belief, and he'll act like it is
Okay,
not.
you know what that's called? A lack of integrity.
Yeah,
A lack of integrity. And if a man doesn't have integrity, a man has nothing.
yeah, absolutely. That's
Right?
why I respect that one side, but I despise the other side.
You respect the intellectual his intelligence.
Yes.
You respect his
Yeah,
intelligence.
bro, you gotta respect what needs to be
Well,
respected.
the guy's been he's been an online personality for over 20 years.
And
You
he's
don't
young.
last
He's
that
still
long.
young.
You don't last that long as an online personality unless you actually intellectually have the capacity to do so. You get what I'm saying?
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, I'll respect his intelligence, but I don't like how much he lies. I don't like how cunning he is, how deceiving he is, how manipulative he is. Right? Again, anybody with a brain can see that. And then there's people coming behind him now. There's people like Tim Pool. He's an American, by the way. He's not Jewish, so this is not Carlos is a Mexican anti-Semite. No, dude, it has nothing to do with Jewish. Here's how I'm not going to use the word judge, right? But we do judge. We naturally, as human beings, we judge. That's genetically inside of us. Remember, back in the day, right? You saw a tiger, right? When we didn't have weaponry or borders or fences, right? And you saw a tiger, you would judge.
Yeah, facts.
You're like, should I stay or should I go, right? You know what I mean? Okay. So what I'm saying is, right, I don't judge people by their skin color or their religious belief system. I judge people by their character. Muslim, Christian. You see what I'm saying? Like their character. What does that entail? Well, that entails, do you have integrity? Are you a man of your word? Do you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, right? So there's a lot that encompasses that. Yes,
Absolutely.
a guy like Ben Shapiro, a guy like Josh Hammer, a lot of these paid influencers, you can see right through it.
But they're the reason why they separate. Like there is a lot of hate, and unfortunately, that's where we're at. So even like immigration, we're talking about immigration in this podcast.
Well, we were,
but that's I'm tying it back in.
Yeah.
We're talking about immigration, and if the news is making immigrants look bad, and the news is making other religions look bad, and the news is making Republicans versus Democrats look bad. You see what I mean? There's always a common enemy. If you had to think of it, it would be an ideal thing to. It might suck for a little bit, but it's ideal.
If we looked up instead of looking this way,
Oh, I mean, that's great, but because
Right?
you think I'm into, yeah.
Right?
But that, well, if there is another alien, if there's an alien race that's coming to attack us, and now we have a common enemy, therefore we get to live at peace here, and then we'll worry about the enemy collectively, because there's always going to be a common enemy, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, let me add one more.
Before
thing
you
here.
do that, this is what I wanted to say. Just to close what you just said, right? Immigrants are blamed for problems created by politicians, not people, right? Because it's easier to point, right? To point a newcomer, right? Than the broken system that we have in this country, which is, again, humans are gonna human, right? We have corruption, we have evil. You know what I mean? We have perversion in this country, right? So it's easier for us to be like, no, I'm not a pervert. Or no, I'm not evil and corrupt. I don't lust for money. That brown Afghani is the problem. You see, like, let's take the light off of me and let's put it on the newcomer. Let's put it on the immigrant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, deflection.
Anyway, I just wanted to add that.
There's no, I do really like that.
By the way, I love your color, by the way. I think it's
I
very
appreciate it.
bronze. And
Thank you. You know,
there's people that actually go into tanning booths for weeks to try to achieve what you have.
I love my skin color.
It's delicious.
I'll say this though, you know, we talked about the judgment, right? I'll say this, right? Because I've seen both sides. I will say that's one thing the West does amazingly great at is the judgment free, because I've heard a lot of the talks and discussions, and there is a lot of judgment, even from a lot of the foreign backgrounds, a lot of different like families that I've talked to, and even some of my own. I've actually had to correct them to be like I don't like the way you're talking about that race. You know, they're very judgmental. Yeah.
Who in your
yeah, like some even family members. Some of my family members.
like they'll talk about the Mexicans?
Yeah, or no, not even just
Damn,
Mexican,
bro.
but just different.
I thought
Categories
everybody loves
of
the
people.
Mexicans.
And I don't like that. I've actually had to check them myself, because I think that's one of the things that I'll take away from the West that I'm glad America does really good at, right? It's the judgment free. It can be a little excessive sometimes, where there's like absolutely no judgment at all. Like sometimes I think there may be a little bit of balance there, but I think a lot of countries could take that away from America.
By the way, let me ask you this, right? What would happen to me specifically? Me, Carlos Reyes, right? Mexican dude. If I went to Afghanistan, like, what would that be like for me?
I mean, if you didn't know anybody.
Yeah, if I just moved over there, you know.
I have an answer, but you can.
Yeah.
Let's go here first.
Well, you know,
what would that look like for me? Like, would I get murdered?
If you're lost, if
Yeah,
you're
go ahead.
lost,
Yeah.
they're gonna take you in, have a bed for you and new clothes, and,
Even though
and
I'm
clothes
Mexican.
and shower, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna feed you even when they don't have money. They'll slaughter their own cattle if they have to feed you.
Wow.
That the only
That's
cattle
love.
to feed you, because that's and they'll point you in the best direction, and you'll stay there until you deem the time is right for you to leave. They'll not tell you to leave. That's the hospitality.
Really?
He's right. Yeah, the hospitality is very real. And maybe you haven't been to any
I haven't
other-
been to the Middle
Yeah,
East,
you
bro.
haven't been to any Muslim households, but you've been to at least Sal's. You see how Sal does it. He's from a Middle Eastern background.
But see, I'm
There's a lot-
Christian, and we do that same
But
thing.
still.
See, like Middle East,
Yeah.
that's the hospitality never
Yeah.
changes, and you can watch it like through channels. You see
Yeah.
travelers go
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure. No. And
Okay.
I've seen it all the time. The hospitality is definitely there, and most people have seen it. You know.
Okay, well, that's love. Okay, as we wind down on the show, right? Here's what I love about immigrants, right? Immigrants arrive hungry. Okay, we don't arrive entitled. You know, by the way, that narrative and stereotype is out there. Oh, these damn immigrants, they just come here to take advantage of the system. Yes?
Yeah.
No, dude. We don't even we create jobs. Like we it's like, hey, is anybody cleaning that for you? I got it. You know what I mean? Bro, my first job in America was I was a wheelbarrow runner in my teenage years, right here in America. I was the guy. I asked these two gentlemen that lived in my apartment complex. They were construction guy. They were handyman. They were handyman. They were remodeling houses for an investor, right? I was I was either entering the 7th grade or it was between the 7th grade and the 8th grade. It's been a long time, but I remember me asking this guy, right? The guy's name was Luis Nunez, and he had a friend. His name was Moreno, which means dark. He was a dark Mexican. So So whenever you're a dark Mexican, right? Mexicans will say, you know, hey, negro, we'll give you a nickname, negro, moreno. You know, it's just we don't. It's all good. Like we joke a lot. We don't. You know, we're very jokesters. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Mexicans, we joke a lot, and some of the jokes are pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we have a very high tolerance for joking. You know what I mean? Like very high. Yeah. Like yeah, bro. Yeah, very high. The only thing that's out. The only thing that's out of reach is like you can't sleep with my sister, or you know, as a joke. You see what I'm saying? Like you know, like, but everything else goes. You see?
Yeah.
Sounds like what? It is. It's like that. We joke
Very high
hard.
bar. Yeah.
We joke hardcore, right? So anyway, the point I was making was my first job here as an immigrant was I was the wheelbarrow kid. Yeah, they would take me early in the morning, and for $80 a day, I would go
you got
around and
paid
pick up
well.
all their trash and carry it out.
You got paid well.
Pretty good back in the day.
$80 a day, bro. It was bro. I was there for 10 to 12 hours every day.
Yeah, I did AC technician work when I first came here, and I was 16 years old. I didn't get paid $80 a day, and I did plumbing too.
Damn.
Yeah, nice. You were getting paid well.
Damn, you were
my friend.
you were laying down some pipe, huh? Oof. Okay, Sal. But anyway, yeah, I believe that, you know, we if you think about immigrants, right? We're predominantly we like to start businesses. Think about every immigrant right now in the studio, right? We all started businesses.
I want to add one final
Yeah.
one final point to this. It's actually ironic that there's like this such a campaign against immigrants, and the whole country is founded on immigration.
Well, back then it was European
For sure.
immigration.
For
Yeah,
sure.
European. They came
But,
and they.
but like the background of this nation, right? Like the real natives of this country, they got kicked out. Everybody's really an immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, but
That's the
that's
funny
just the
thing.
nature of human evolution.
For sure.
You know, we can get into that, but go ahead. You were gonna say something, please do.
What I was gonna say is I actually, because you asked us a question earlier, I didn't answer about hate. I only started noticing some hate here and there, very rarely, as I got older. That's when I actually started noticing, you know, body expressions, facial expressions, things that were said. You know, your level of psychology goes up. But I'll say I really don't think it's as much as people, you know, as much as it's promoted and shown. But I do think, to bring it back to immigration, I have seen, right, what is the issue with the Latinos, right? There really isn't an issue. The issue is that they have a lot of these jobs, politicians, for their own agenda. They're just using that, right? They're pointing the finger to use that. They're taking our jobs. Really, though, Americans, most people don't want those jobs anyways.
No.
Right? And so you have that, because that whole immigration movement right now is huge in politics, right? But on the Muslims and Middle Easterns, I think the reason that they're being targeted specifically is actually for a greater agenda to get the people, because we're only 1% of the population in the U.S., right?
That's
1%
crazy.
or
That's
less,
crazy to me.
right? But why are all these videos and people going to these extremes in terms of pointing the finger at Muslims in this country? I think there's a greater agenda that's occurring to get the people of America to start backing our government to go further into the Middle East.
Yep. My point exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess what they're using they're using the barbaric and let's protect ourselves by going there so they don't come here. What happened in Bondi?
Right.
I don't know if you
It's
saw
by the way, it's
Bondi.
coming hard, Sal.
Well,
it's
is
everywhere right now.
But it's that excuse to be used. Arab nations make it easy to use when they display some of those behaviors,
Like a beheading.
whatever, and the Western or whatever the other countries they're using that to advance.
Yeah, let me
You
also
have to see it for what it is.
And here's the reality, guys. And I know it's someone might say it's hypocritical to say this, right? The hard truths that immigrants don't say out loud, right? Yeah, of course, you know, we should have borders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
don't you have a house with walls and a door?
brother, I have kids. I want to be secure.
You
as
want to
well.
feel safe, or at least have the illusion of safety.
I don't want
right?
bad actors to come in. I want the good actors
Not
to come in.
everyone
and
should
stay.
come,
Yeah.
right? That's another truth that a lot of people don't say out loud is not everybody should come to this country. If you're a radical Muslim, hey, we're good, right? You see what I'm saying? If you're a fraudulent Somali, yo, we're good,
Yeah.
right? If you're if you're a law breaking, a Mexican, we're good. You see, it applies to all. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, not everyone should come. Yes, borders matter. They'll be like, oh, bro, you're an immigrant, bro. You don't want walls. You don't want walls. You don't want borders. Hello, yeah, I'd live in a house with a door and a security system, and you know what I mean, for a reason. I just want to feel safe, and plus there's all kinds of other things that can happen, like invasion and all kinds of stuff. I mean, right? But I will say this, immigrants that come into this country, if you do come and you do make it, come here and contribute. Come here and work. Come here and create a business, create a job.
Don't be a parasite.
Don't be a parasite, right? Don't be codependent on welfare, because that's when people get pissed.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Right? Welfare dependency destroys what? It destroys ambition.
Yep. Ability to think
And
for
it,
oneself.
and it destroys that immigrant mindset and work ethic too.
Yeah. Well, the immigrants themselves will be controlled now because that's a form of controlling.
Yeah.
And that's why the politicians control the people that are on welfare and whatnot, because they feel like they're the only lifeline, and they use that for for their agenda.
Well,
That's why universal basic income is so dangerous, because they want everyone to just be sheep. Everyone.
It's easy to control the sheep.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We got to land this plane.
Yeah, I don't know where this country's headed, but I believe that we're going to control the controllables.
Yeah.
Right. We have children.
Yeah.
These young men don't yet. So we're going to do our best as fathers, as husbands, to to continue to fight, to continue to create to continue to live in a country that offers the opportunities to our children and to many other families, the same opportunity that was offered to you and I.
Yeah.
And while we're sitting in the studio, right, behind a microphone and a camera. So with that being said, I guess as we exit now, right, any last words from you guys? We'll love that if that's possible.
I'll say one last thing. You asked a question earlier, like we talked about specifically racism, and I said, yeah, of course it's out there. I just don't think it's that prevalent. But I do think the real form of hate that's going on, and maybe hate's not the right word, but I'll just go with that for now, is the economic classes. That I think that's that's becoming the real issue, and that is the real issue. If you were to ask me, it's actually not racism. You got people at the top that are all sorts of races. Not that they all look down on poor. That's not what I'm getting at. Many wealthy people that are incredible humans, but it's that gap that's widening, and it's tension that's rising, and that's creating this negative emotion of feeling towards one another. I think that's the real issue, and that's going to continue to get worse as inflation goes through the roof, and as the poor get poorer and the rich get richer.
Yeah. I mean, World War II happened. I mean, that's not too long ago, and I think it started because of economic problems. That's why.
It's always about the money, Sal. Follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corruption, follow the money. War, follow the money. You know what I mean? Like, follow the money, dude. Money. You know what I love about following the money?
It doesn't lie.
It leaves breadcrumbs.
And I love brick.
And I love me some breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Right? It leaves breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
So you'll get there. If you follow the money, right? Like, dude, rule number 1: follow the money. Right? You want to expose a crime. You want to expose a corruption. You want to expose evil. Follow the money.
Yeah.
Follow the money, because guess what? You can't hide money. Like, you can try, and maybe you can hide
clues.
it. Huh?
It leaves clues.
It leaves clues. You can try and you can hide it, but there's gonna.
And if the money's been spent, just look at the guy or the girl.
You'll
They've
see
gotten
it.
fat or not.
Ooh.
And that is also the crumbs.
There might be crumbs on that person's shirt, and I want them.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, I think it's been a great podcast. I think you can really go deep into this one.
Yeah, yeah.
I really think you could spend hours talking about immigration.
That's why I
but-
mentioned earlier. I said we got to land this plane.
You can.
You prepared to land a plane? Like, podcast went on for over an hour.
That's all right.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I just want to say thank you, gentlemen, for stopping in. I think this is going to be a great show. And Mr. Sal, this was a fun one, right?
Absolutely.
I feel like
man.
these kind of things need to be talked about, especially,
It's not just business, man.
it's not just business, man. We've been talking a lot of business, but we're also human beings. We're not machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have hobbies. I have, I like interests. I have specific interests, and we like to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
We like to know what's going on in the world. We try to keep ourselves very informed because guess what? Remember that one time in 2019 when we were in DC and that guy came in and he was a developer, right? And then he goes, yeah, what is it? What do you say? Politics and business go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Politics and business go hand in hand. From the taxation, right, to the compliance, right? Like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Politics is actually the highest form of business.
I mean, ask Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
The greatest traitor, not traitor with a T, traitor, Trader, of all time.
Yeah.
She's pretty good.
Just follow the trade.
She's pretty good. Anyway, Sal, any last words before we close down the show?
Peace and love.
Ooh. See you next week.